a nation and the people on the move, keeping you up to date. Belmopan Weekly.
Tonight on Belmopan Weekly, Belize celebrates its first annual Energy Week. Armenia's football field gets made over, plus the latest on what the Ministry of Health and the National Drug Abuse Council is doing to help those with substance abuse. These and more top news stories. Good evening, and thanks so much for being with us on this Thursday, the 10th day of November 2011. I am Carolyn Crawford. The practicalities and policies behind energy acquisition and consumption ask complex questions of our policymakers that affect our economic stability, security and relations with the global community, and our future environmental and personal health. The reliance on engines and electricity now dominates our world, whereby energy is overwhelmingly the #1 concern of our societies as we head into the 21st century. Needless to say, it's a very big deal, and one which is demanding greater cooperation between local, regional, and international partners. Recognizing this, the Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment this week launched Belize's first annual Energy Week. Belmopan Weekly's Claudia Groch was there and has this story.
We are too young a country to be settling for factless naysaying and cynicism. We have to be bold. We have to try different things. Of course, we should study what others have done. Maybe even try what others have tried. But in the end, we must do what works for us.
And as part of the government's drive towards determining its energy priorities and developing itself into the region's focus for discussing new energy-related ideas, developing new technology and practices, and for trading and marketing current products, the government of Belize is spearheading the first annual Energy Awareness Week by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, sponsored by CARICOM. This is being held in Belize simultaneously with other sister Caribbean countries. Kicking off the week, newly appointed CEO of the Ministry of Public Utilities, Information and Broadcasting, Mr. John Mencias, highlighted the country's vibrant energy industry and GOB's leadership.
Government is now in the final stages of completing a comprehensive and innovative energy policy to guide us along a path of efficient and sustainable energy development. This energy policy is needed to set the stage, to usher in the new technologies that I briefly spoke about, to usher in a new era of energy innovation and energy innovators. As users of energy, as professionals involved in energy production processes, as managers of enterprises that produce energy and that consume energy, and as leaders in government that make the policies that guide action, it is our responsibility to become aware of the many ways in which we can make a difference in the roles that we can play. Then, as citizens of Belize and of the world, it is our even greater and more urgent responsibility to plan, organize, and act.
Many policies and programs will also be highlighted this week through numerous planned events and discussions. And while the terminology may be technical, the sentiment is simple: improving the quality of life for all Belizeans.
We are facing as a nation right now a major threat from climate change and its challenges to sustainable development. Energy is a big part of the conversation of both climate change and sustainable development, because energy underpins everything, including poverty. One of the biggest issues with poverty is electrification and the availability of electricity, because everything moves from there. If you have electricity, then you have a computer, you have a refrigerator, you have a television. You know, your entire quality of life is significantly affected by electricity. And so energy is a big issue as far as all nations are concerned.
Throughout the day, I kept hearing of ways in which to save energy, like teaching children to turn off the lights when leaving an empty room, to harness energy from windmills, water, the sun, from geothermal reservoirs beneath the earth, from agriculture waste, from the waves and the sea currents. But through it all, What I saw was not only a steadfast government committed to enhancing the future of Belize, but a people receptive to a future of clean energy.
Recently, the cabinet has established a special subcommittee of CEOs, and the job of this subcommittee is to finalize, launch, implement the national energy policy. National energy policy is well underway, and it's going through its consultation phases right now. But one of the things that is very clear is that we really do need a culture change as far as we as Belizeans look at the whole issue of energy, from the little things like we still have a lot of households using these incandescent, as we call the screw-in bulbs from back in the 10, 15, 20 years ago, when most of the bulbs that are used now are the compact fluorescents, and these burn 20% less energy just for your individual household.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Claudia Grouch.
Energy Week is being celebrated from November 6 to November 12, 2011. Many activities were planned for the course of the week, including an energy-efficient exhibition, expert panel discussions, and much more public awareness. The week culminates with a field trip to the Belcogen facility on Friday. Taking the trip are students from Our Lady of Guadalupe High School, who won the banner and team competition for the first annual Energy Week. Infrastructure has been a major focus of this administration, and in this regard, the village of Armenia in Cayo South has certainly gotten its fair share and more. Armenia is a village along the Hummingbird Highway, just about 10 to 15 minutes out of Belmopan. It has a population of well over 2,000. A few months ago, virtually all its village roads received a major upgrade to all-weather standard through the efforts of the area representative, Honorable Raman Witts. Today, Armenia is receiving another important upgrade, again through the intervention of the area representative. This time, it's all about football.
People in Armenia doesn't just love football, they have a passion for football. And ever since this field has been used, there is this particular section that you see behind us that has been a problem for footballers. Whenever they play, they fall, and because it has a lot of rocks, they get hurt. They have been asking for help for many years, and they have asked me as well. I had lobbied with the Prime Minister for some funds, and he has been good enough to help the people of Cayo South, the people of Armenia, by listening to them through me to ensure that we have some funds to get this project underway. Now what is happening, they are digging, they are leveling the football field, this particular section, and they will ensure that they put a good material so that good grass can grow on it, and the players will have a better playing field, and also the players will be able to play without getting hurt.
I'm really excited. I'm really happy of the project, because it's something that we have always wanted during the past years, for many years, and especially at this moment when our village is growing bigger and bigger and people are getting more into the sport of football. Finally, we got it through our government. Our area representative, Ramon Witz, he have brought down the machine, and work is getting to be done right now. And I bet after this, everybody's going to be really happy and joyful about what's going on here.
Well, I am very happy to see the work that's being done in Armenia. It is something that has been needed for many years. Not only the players use it, but as you can see, the school is right there. And so also the school needs it for the children. Sometimes they have projects, they need to play, and they can only use normally half of the field. So now we can see that it's going to be beneficial for both the village and the school. So we are really happy for that.
And if you know anything about Armenia, you will know that for the residents of this roadside community, football is almost as important as life itself. Up next, more of our top news stories. Stay with us.
Every year, thousands of people travel to foreign countries because of a promise for a better life. Many times, however, the promise of better wages, a better job, and a better life for themselves and their families turns out to be a lie. They become victims of human trafficking. You could be a victim of trafficking if your employer or someone acting on his or her behalf is holding your passport, cedula, birth certificate, or other travel documents with or without your consent. Someone has tricked or forced you to leave your country. You are not told the truth about the kind of work you are doing. You are forced to work in order to pay off a loan debt. A stranger has paid for or helped you to get your visa. If you or someone you know is a victim of human trafficking, visit or call the Ministry of Human Development Office or the nearest police station.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life, as you know it, is completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at www.nemo.org.bz.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in. More top news stories now. Our friends in the media can attest to the fact that many times they have not been able to access details for their stories for a variety of reasons. The data could not be located, the relevant person was away from his desk, or simply that the files or data were being used by someone else. All that will now come to an end. How? Rudy Aguilar found out the reasons at a meeting of stakeholders in Banana Bank this week.
So much information in so many places. But many times accessing that information proves very difficult, especially if you're a client needing it urgently. So how can, for example, the Ministry of Natural Resources immediately access the data you need? And how can a two-day meeting going to speed up this process? Enter the National Spatial Data Infrastructure, NSDI. We spoke to Karen Williams, Principal Land Information Officer at the Land Information Center, Department of Lands and Surveys, Ministry of Natural Resources, for an explanation on how this exercise will help the average Belizean on the street.
Just to compare it with the infrastructure in the country, or roads, electricity, this NSDI for us is as important as our roads and electricity. In the modern Belize, we cannot do without this type of data. We need it for simple things like looking at the situation of illegal logging, looking at our protected areas management, where we're going to put our schools, where should we not build our houses like in flood-prone areas. So for every aspect of our life, we need this type of infrastructure set up at this point. For crime, that's a big issue affecting us right now. So this type of infrastructure is going to allow us to be able to address a lot of the issues affecting our country at this point. The police can put together infrastructure, and it shows where different types of crime are happening, so that the police can then immediately go to those areas and put in programs, work with other agencies to address the crime situation. Maybe it's related to poverty or it's related to some other things. So the government can then look at programs on how to gear the resources towards addressing those issues with the assistance of the GIS. It's easy. You look at the map and you can visualize what is happening. You can look and see where are all the hot spots for crime, and immediately you can then go in and put in programs to address those crime hot spots in the country.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
For detailed programs and extensive data that are available to the general public, you can log in at www.nsdi.gov.bz. Beltrade, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Youth, along with other industry stakeholders, has launched a program Business Processing Outsourcing BPO certification training. This began Monday, November 7, 2011 at the ITVET facility in Belize City. The business processing outsourcing industry is currently seen as an emerging industry with great growth potential. It is expected that the industry will generate substantial employment for our country, a vital engine for economic development. All 3 training sessions are programmed for 2 weeks, from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The other trainings are being held at the ICT Center located in Mountain View Street across from Niche in the city of Belmopan, and in San Ignacio will be offered at the CET facility located in Buena Vista Street, San Ignacio Town. We'll be right back with more Belmopan Weekly in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
We regret to inform you that there are no vacancies at this time. You have no skills. You are not prepared. You are not qualified.
This position requires a high school diploma.
We're not interested. Try again next month or
We're not qualified.
There are no job openings at this time.
I'm sorry, but we cannot accept him back this year.
We are only as strong as the foundation we are built upon. Remember, as a society, we reap what we sow. However, it's never too late to engage our youths positively and support their dreams and aspirations. For more information on support services for families of children at risk of coming in conflict with the law, contact the Community Rehabilitation Department at 223-2716. This message is brought to you by the Community Rehabilitation Department, the National Committee for Families and Children, and UNICEF.
The Ministry of Health, through the National Drug Abuse Rehabilitation Council, has embarked on a vigorous drive to snatch as many persons as possible from the dark claws of the substance addiction. In how many ways? Utilizing what techniques? Rudy Aguilar has traveled out west this week to witness and hear firsthand the little miracles that are being worked among the affected population.
Many individuals in our society are troubled with the issue of substance or drug abuse. So, where can they get help? Where can they go? Who can they ask? We were over the past few days at the RIMAR Rehabilitation Center, where many of them have found a solution. Emilio tells us about his bitter experience, but how he is slowly but surely recuperating.
To start with, I was a drug addict. I had the issue of drug problem in my life, alcohol as well. And after a long term of being in my addiction, at a certain time, after a certain time, I started to something just came out from within me that I needed help because I was destroying, right? I knew I was destroying my life.
At the end of the successful treatment, Emilio has some sound and healthy advice for any affected individuals.
I would encourage each and every one of you who are out there, brothers, sisters, whoever it may be, just you don't need no money. You don't. All what you need to do is to make the decision in you. It's within you. We have the choices to choose whether we stay in our addiction or whether we approach for help. And this ministry is always ready and willing to help you as long as you are willing and ready to make and give that change within your life.
According to Mr. Esner Veyos, Director of the National Drug Abuse Control Council, Ministry of Health, he spoke to us about an important training exercise taking place at the center for the next few days aimed at reaching out to a troubled sector of our population.
The training is in collaboration with the practitioner nurse, psychiatric practitioner nurse of the Ministry of Health that would be able to impart her skills and knowledge in terms of providing the participants who are mainly the people, clients of REMER, and they will be provided sessions in terms of the consequences of drug addiction, the relationship between addiction and mental health issues, and at the same time representatives from the Rehabilitation and Treatment Unit of the National Drug Council from each district, each outreach caseworker from each district will be are here, and they will be also providing them with outreach services, and at the same time providing them with capacitating them with tools so that they will be able to incorporate back again into the society once they are out of Rehabilitation and Treatment Center.
We also spoke to another person who had a success story, but had to go through a lot of suffering before that success became a reality.
I started out in drinking, and after we start drinking, then I got introduced into the marijuana, which, for a period of time, you enjoy the high, because when you use these things, you don't feel the pain, you don't feel the sadness, the effect of what people are doing to you. You are numb, and after that the highs start, like you want something more, and you start on cocaine, sniffing cocaine. You start on crack cocaine, and that was a big part of my life.
This person is presently having huge success in his efforts to overcome the use of harmful substances. And not only that, he is now actively helping others to travel the same path to freedom from the use of drugs.
I'm working together with ENAC, San Ignacio, voluntarily, and I am trying to reach out and to help people to understand the cause of drugs and the cause of alcoholism, because it's a big issue in our country.
An issue which this administration is committed to tackle. For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
The Ministry of Health, through the National Drug Abuse Control Council, regularly holds similar exercises for rehabilitation of anyone who needs help in overcoming substance abuse of any kind. Feel free to call them anytime, day or night, at telephone numbers 824-2436. Public officers oftentimes go unrecognized for their hard work and efforts. And in reality, these officers are the backbone of the government and play an integral role in its success. In an effort to raise the awareness of their contributions, Belmopan Weekly this week spoke to Dr. Marjorie Joseph Parks, Deputy Director of Health Services and Chief Nursing Officer in the Ministry of Health, is the first Belizean nurse to have obtained her doctorate degree of education in nursing. Belmopan Weekly Ida Herrera stopped by her office to ask her how she accomplished it.
The expanding field of nursing demands more highly trained nurses. Leadership and management skills will be more and more important as the function that nurses perform expand. The Ministry of Health recognizes the major and minor decisions that nurses need to carry out, and they encourage all nurses to reach for excellence, as Dr. Marjorie Parks, the first Belizean nurse who obtained her doctorate degree, explains.
I've worked at the ministry now for 35 years, and I've worked in various capacities. First as a staff nurse at the bedside, and then I was once the principal tutor at the now defunct Bliss School of Nursing, the principal nursing officer. And with the health sector reform, that has been expanded to deputy director. So I have been able to contribute in all aspects of nursing, education, administration, public health. And I have tried to impart my knowledge, to try to encourage all the other nurses to strive for the highest. And ultimately, our biggest role is to provide quality nursing care to the population. And that is what we strive to do.
Dr. Marjorie Parks was not hesitant to explain that it was not an easy task, but it was surely worth the while and will help her in performing her job to the best of her ability.
I do know that I have always subscribed to lifelong learning and improving your knowledge, your skill level to contribute more to the country. It will help you to broaden your whole knowledge base, your understanding, and your interaction with persons on a whole. So it does feel good. It was a hard, long journey, but thank God I've made it, and I am prepared now to carry on and to do my job to the best of my ability.
And Dr. Parks has set the foundation for other nurses, and she encourages them to reach for excellence and for their goals.
Learning never ends. We continue to learn. I just told them that I am the trailblazer. I have set the path maybe, but a number of nurses are there. We have a whole lot of nurses who can follow and who have been encouraged to follow to improve their education, and that will improve their ability to provide safe, high quality nursing care, health care on a whole to the people of Belize. So just go for it, never stop learning, and to continue reaching for their goals.
Well, that's it for another edition of Belmopan Weekly. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at production@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week until next time. I'm Carolyn Crawford.